And welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm your host here, SC Myers, and we got ourselves our melee tags here. We got ourselves an introduction. We got ourselves a template. We got ourselves a professionalish looking thumbnail, and we got ourselves some banging cards today, Aaron.
Production has ramped up.
It went 0 to 100 real quick. Shout out to the first lady for that. I'm closer to my mic. We're doing a lot of different things this time around, but we got a lot of good stuff to show off this weekend and talk about. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it here with some of our leaders. All right, talk to me about Han Solo. I don't know if this is going to be on the same Han Solo power level that we've come to know, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, thank God. Honestly, he's got a quarter of the power of the other ping leaders that we've seen. The fact that he doesn't like compound actions with his ping, like even Padme does at this point, and we're seeing how well that she does versus Quinlan and Cad Bane. I'm not seeing a ton of use.
Yeah,
For him.
I don't know, man. Like, I've never been, and I will continue to never be a proponent of destroying things on your side of the board to, like, I guess, advance, if we're going to say that's the right word here, because I don't know that you're
Yeah.
technically, like, advancing, right? If you're destroying, I mean, maybe Krennic has something to say about that, other heroes like that. I mean, Saboteur's kind of nice, I guess, but, I mean, the on attack's interesting too, but even the stat line on his flip is subpar to me, right? So, like, it's just,
Yeah.
ping leaders too without Tarkin Town at this point, like,
Yeah, and we've seen the rare bases. We know that we're not getting another effect like that.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
Han Solo,
I
not
mean,
as smooth as pass.
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be Han 1 or Han 2 or even Han 4, honestly, but maybe. I mean, maybe we'll see. I mean, it's nice to have a friendly underworld kind of tribal potentially, but
Yeah, that and the Saboteur, the 5 cost 4/5 Saboteur is not, like that's his saving grace in my opinion. But
yeah,
like to what you're saying, I mean, you're not only sacrificing an action, but you're sacrificing a resource like on your side. Like
yeah,
when defeated triggers are different because at least your opponent is spending an action to like trigger that when defeated action for you. In this case, you're using your action and your resource to get one ping. I don't know. I'm just not super excited about it.
yeah. And I mean, again, like the on attack is kind of cool and everything, but again, it's like escalating that whole defeat your board to do something, and I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's a leader that comes back in future sets when we have cooler tokens that are easier to do. But
Yeah, and like I think the first inclination to me was thinking about some of the force stuff, but again, it's like why are we destroying the force to do one thing? Like so, probably not my cup of tea, which is tough because I'm a cunning guy at heart, and but I don't know, probably not my cup of tea. So let's get on with the next guy here. Now, this guy, however, I think is my cup of tea. I mean, we've got Villain Sabine, and that's awesome. I like to play fast things. I don't want to be sitting at time when the round gets called. And we got Sebulba here, and I mean, I think this guy's great.
yeah, I think he's fantastic. I love the raid one on him. The discard synergies, more exciting than the discard leaders we've seen in the past. I think it's more exciting than Darth Vader. I think it's very funny that they put Darth Vader and Sebulba as the two discard red leaders.
Well, I mean, I kind of like the fact that all that discard synergy is kind of, we're not like spreading it amongst, so like we can kind of use everything. And I think another very notable thing about this is we're not discarding from our hand, we're discarding from our deck. And so that's really, I think, important. And it's a lot better, obviously, because, you don't want to be going
Yeah,
down hand advantage and everything if your opponent's drawing 2 cards a turn, right? But
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. We
two
have
five,
that card.
yeah, no, 2/5 for 4 comes out raid 1. I mean, this is Sabine, and I think with some of the stuff that we've seen, that the new TIE fighter, that every time you
Yeah,
discard it has a shield. I mean, that's really good. So I think this guy is going to have some staying power, and it's really cool to see villainy kind of get pushed in a bit of an aggro direction with this guy. So I'm very excited to kind of mess around with Sebulba, even though I mean I wouldn't say he's one of the more revered characters in the Star Wars universe, but at least it's not Han 7 and 1/7,
Han
I
said he's.
guess.
I don't know, man. Sebulba's my king.
Yeah,
Anything for my kingdom for Sebulba. I mean, I'm so happy to have this guy in the game, and where we
yeah.
can have Director Krennic versus Sebulba
Just as we always
is
wanted, for sure.
truly unlimited at this
Yes.
point.
All right, and then our third leader, we got the client here. I don't know if we were going in order with this. I think he got spoiled a little bit out of order here, but this was our third leader
Hmm.
for the week, and again, it's kind of an action-intensive thing. The stat line is a little bit subpar. I will say there's a little bit of a triggering PTSD thing with the shielded 4/4 with Iden, even though
Hmm.
this isn't healing and anything like that. But I could see this definitely in a control-ish kind of shell, or just an annoying ass kind of shell with like frozen and carbonite and crap like that, where you're just exhausting and being truly obnoxious.
Yeah, I mean it's the same pitfall that a lot of these like cunning exhaust leaders are falling into, where you have to take an action before you can exhaust one of your opponent's board, unless you have like
Right,
uh, Admiral Akbar or something like that. But
right,
in this case, that the shield is nice because it activates his on attack on his flip. So if you flip with Cinta or something like that, then yeah, you can exhaust something. But um, he's just I don't know. We see the game going wider, so maybe it'll make more of a difference. But I mean, if my opponent has a 7 power unit and a 2 power unit, and I only get to exhaust the 2 power unit because of action, economy,
right,
then it feels a lot worse.
right. Yeah, and I mean, I guess if anything, right, this is a pro for our guy Han here. The new meta king. He's gonna
Hmm.
just one shot the client.
Yeah, yeah, saboteur.
Maybe for
Yeah,
your
exactly.
limited playing or whatnot. But I just, again, I agree with you. I don't see it. I mean, how often are we going to be in situations where you're not? I mean, you know what the leader does, and you're going to be swinging first, and it's like, at what
Hmm.
point is the ability really that great at that point? And you have to create the token, and then hope that there's
Yeah.
something. And it's like at that point, their board's wide probably. So is that even really worth it? Like, I don't know.
Hmm. Until we get a card that says create X token at the beginning of the action phase, I don't see the client being super helpful
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
in a premier
it's
deck.
we'll see how it's trending, but we're getting some interesting stuff with the regroup phase that we're gonna
Hmm.
we're gonna get to here soon. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into some of the multicolor combo stuff at this point, and that was honestly a lot of the spoilers this week. So that's kind of the order here is the multicolor combo, and then we'll just get into every other aspect. So let's first show the Millennium Falcon here. Gotta have a Millennium Falcon in every set, just like we gotta have a Han in
Yep.
every set. But unlike the Han, I'm pretty stonks up on this Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, the stats are premium. We love a 3 cost 2/5. It's above that, twice the stats for the resource cost. And on top of that, giving out bonus stats to your friendlies and subtracting them from your opponent. I mean, is special. I mean, we
Yeah,
love this card with tandem assault. He gets the space unit gets to attack, and then you get to give +2 twice to a ground unit, and then attack with it. So +4 total.
yeah.
Um, it's interesting because I don't think that we've seen green yellow in a like sort of aggro shell really,
No,
unless you count Hanwhan green and maybe yeah. I mean, we had Sabine yellow,
right.
and that was obviously not green. So I'm interested to see what kind of leaders they're trying to push because I would expect this to have more synergy with the Han Solo leader, and it just doesn't. There's no token.
Yeah,
Creating in this phase. Granted, we are only halfway through the set at this point, so maybe we'll see more use cases between the leader and this card. But I mean, as it stands, this is a premium uncommon.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know that we've ever had a card that has 5 health, 3 costs in space like that. And I think that the other thing
Hmm.
that you mentioned too that I really love, and I think we mentioned in our last video, is just kind of breaking down the tropes that we've come to know with certain color combinations. Like green and yellow has not really been something that has been paired pretty frequently. I wouldn't say. I say that Han one, but like
Yeah.
it's not. And I mean, that wasn't because of the colors necessarily. It's just because of the ability and resupply. But I don't know. Like it's changing kind of the way that we play the game. I like that this guy can just like infinitely brawl in space too. I know you shouted out the tandem assault. We got to cite our sources on that one. So shout out Blainerama on that one
Yeah. Yeah.
because that is a really interesting interaction. It has some really sneaky damage there. So
Fellow Raleigh Raider
fellow Ron,
teammate.
yes, 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 yes. So again, I love things like this that can brawl in space, especially if you're playing like a force deck and you just don't want to devote a lot of attention to space. Like this guy can kind of hold it down for you if you're needing to trade into stuff. So again, 5 health. pretty solid line or pretty solid
Mm-hmm.
traits. The on attack's just really cool. Like you're gonna get a swing off with this guy no matter what. I mean, it's the same
Mm-hmm.
like principles as the AT Holler. That 5 health was just such a sweet spot of like it's really hard to
Yep.
get rid of. So yeah, I mean, great card. All right, same kind of color combination here. We got the Patient Hunter, and this is what I was kind of alluding to a little while ago. I love seeing this regroup phase stuff. It really adds a different wrinkle to the game, and I think like obviously the stat line is a little subpar, but the ability can be super interesting. I think to just kind of
Mm-hmm.
tag your opponent's unit down just almost permanently if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're not super afraid of that experience token if they're not being readied.
Right,
I think that maybe you're probably playing this and you have a way to bounce whatever
right, yeah, some removal or
before they
something.
get the benefit.
Yeah,
Honestly, part of me is hoping that we get some sort of card that benefits from having from being tap down on your side. So like maybe against Sentinel
yeah,
while it's exhausted or something like that. But what I like about this card is the idea of playing it after you put down a Galen Urso on their side, and then you just keep giving the experience to Galen. He can't swing, and all of your units get raid 2 and Saboteur, or raid 1 and Saboteur. I mean, it's just
yeah. That could be an
or
interesting play
dealing
line
with
for
cards
sure.
like the Falcon.
Yeah, no, that could
Yeah.
be a really interesting play line for sure. I mean, obviously it does say non-leader, so that's, important there. But again, I just love the whole regroup phase stuff. Like, I don't want it to be littered everywhere, but having it not just be like this goldfishy, like, okay, we're exhausting, we're resourcing, and like we're just going to the next
Hmm.
round. Like, you actually have to start to think about the regroup phase a little bit more. Is really unique and fun in my mind. So.
Agreed.
All right. Let's move on to Lats Razzie. I'm getting like DC, like Poison Ivy kind of vibes here, like Batman vibes. I mean, I don't know who the heck this. I mean, I did watch the Clone Wars, so like I'm not like
Yeah.
as deep in the lore. Aaron had to get me on the Tusken Raider from last video, but
On Urk.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, this card is, I think this is a better Death Trooper, and I mean, I think that's
Hmm.
just unequivocally correct in my mind.
Yeah.
But like, this is a really unique card, and I think it can be, at that 3 cost can really swing a board state early.
And I think that the biggest use case for this card is going to be Iden, or not Iden, sorry, Dryden Blue. That
Right.
force deck that we've seen before, where he can ambush us in, where she's either dealing 5 damage to a unit and surviving, or
Yeah.
6 damage
Yeah.
while crashing in. And I mean, just especially at this state of the game, slapping a unit down and removing something, even if it's just on the ground is
Yeah.
premium. It takes out spies, it takes out charismatic. I know that I say that for every 2 power unit
You
that gets on
got
the
to. You
board, but
got
I mean
to.
that's what you need to think about.
Yeah. No. I mean, I just like in a post rotation world where we are losing a lot of staple removal pieces, like, and you got a brawl with your units, a wind blade ability like this where you're doing 3 damage potentially to something is super important. And
Hmm.
like I said, it's a better Death Trooper because it comes in with 2 health at that point instead of just the one that the Death Trooper has, and it's dealing
Hmm.
3 damage. I mean, this is a solid card, and I like the power levels that are being increased with these multicolored combo cards, and like it makes deck building super interesting to me. And playing around with the new common bases too, I think it's really fun, and I think it's
Hmm.
kind of starting to put some things together. Like things like this are really cool and interesting to just like splash in a deck where you don't otherwise have these colors on
Hmm.
readily available, if you will. All right, uh, it's time to start talking about the poster child and the poster boy for the thumbnail and everything for this week. And obviously,
Yeah.
this is the Max Rebo ban. Green yellow 1/5. When the regroup phase starts, create a credit token. I mean, we're printing money. Uh,
Yeah.
all the bread and the milk is out of the grocery stores at this point in the southeast because of the winter weather. But you're gonna have to start paying more for it now because inflation is
Yeah.
just going up. We're printing money everywhere with these guys.
We're fixing the economy. Max Rebo man has come in and he's selling tickets. He's
Yeah.
getting like everyone's lining up at the door.
Yep.
Uh, it's my favorite credit token generator out of all of them so far. I mean, Bix is fun because she lets you go from 5 to 7, just like the old Han.
Yep.
But the Max Rubin just every time getting that credit. I mean, I think it becomes a 1/5 Sentinel at this point. That is like if your opponent ramping above you every single
Yeah.
turn because they have this guy out. I mean, granted, I mean, you are delaying a turn to do so, but
Right.
I love this guy.
Yeah. No, I mean, the 1/5 stat line is obviously pretty subpar for a 3 cost unit. Like we like that three
Hmm.
five line and everything. We've come to appreciate that for the 3 cost units. But I this guy definitely belongs in a kind of a later game shell to me for sure. And like I said, that whole regroup phase starts, and you're gonna see it with the next card too. But like five health is still tough to remove. So like it's almost guaranteeing that token there. And
Hmm.
interesting traits. We got the musician trait. I'm not so sure that we're going to be getting a musician tribal deck or
Yeah.
anything like that, but it's kind
They
of
said
fun
that the
flavor.
musician trait. Yeah, they said the musician trait is the first 2 units that it have in Star Wars Unlimited to ever have that trait, obviously, and that it will be used very rarely. I
Yeah,
can't name any other musicians. Maybe the Bith people from the Cantina Band.
there you go.
That would be fun,
Yeah,
but maybe we'll get a musician theme set
yeah.
later down the line.
I don't remember ever being serenaded by anything in the Star Wars that I was watching. I don't know. Maybe Maul in the new show is going to get us with that, but I don't see that. All right. So let's talk about this guy, Max Rebo, legendary card. Um, I mean, kind of the same thoughts of the last card, and it pairs well with his band. Obviously, I mean, we got our lead
Hmm.
singer, our lead musician here. He's got 2/7 lines, so not really brawling very well. But I mean, that stat line, he's not going anywhere when you play him on the board. And
Hmm.
the ability, it's something we have not seen before. It's really interesting, and I think there's obvious pros to it, but I do think that there are some cons that we gotta think through. So it's this guy's
Yeah,
going to change the game a little bit for sure.
I definitely agree. You hit on what I was thinking is that like, he's got a fat butt. I mean, he's sticking around for a long time.
Yeah.
Seven is just not a stat line that you seven health is not a stat line that is reachable for any other early units
Right.
in the game.
Right.
But what I think that the pattern that I'm seeing with the cards, especially the green yellow cards like Max Rebo and everything else, is that the developers seem to be moving away from like uh, blue green being like the standard operating removal package.
Yeah.
They seem to be wanting to push players that it's like if you want to go tall and you want to remove units from the game, that you're only going to be able to do it temporarily. Max Rebo is going to get you to that 10 resource super quick, but your yellow is famous for their bounce. Is the bounce effect color.
Yeah.
That if you want to be removing units from the game permanently, then you're going to have to go to blue, and it's going to take you longer to get there.
Yeah.
That these packages aren't going to be available to you as early as they will be in cunning, which I think is interesting. I like we're losing evacuate, but it'd be interesting to see people think about cards like that instead of instead of super laser blasts.
Right.
These lower cards that temporarily affect the board
Yeah.
and slow your opponent down rather than completely overrunning them with cards like Avenger and Super Laser Blast. It seems to be that blue red is the new like premium standard, like eliminate units off the board package.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we've kind of been touching on it all throughout some of the stuff that we've been talking about. It's like people have to revisit the way they imagine the game in terms of the color combinations. Like the
Hmm.
blue green villainy is just like become a thing, and it's not so much like just blue green villainy anymore. Like you said, blue red is going to be something that it's probably going to get a little more controlling potentially. Maybe it's unit based. I don't know, but like this guy, the pros and cons stuff, right? Like he seems to probably pair very well with the new Lando leader, right? Because the whole thing with
Hmm.
this is you're basically skipping out a turn of doing damage to units and anything to base, right? Like you and your opponent are going to be drawing effectively 4 cards, and you're effectively both
Hmm.
going to be resourcing twice. So again, the con of that is your opponent's also doing it, right? But if you can go from a 4 to a 6, you can skip over your opponent's 5 health or 5 cost flip, which is setting them back tremendously in tempo at that point. And your opponent's leader is effectively now a 6 cost leader. So
Yep.
like it's do you want your opponent drawing 4 cards? I mean, maybe they're running aggressive negotiation. That could be pretty problematic for you. Um,
Hmm.
but I think if you're playing this guy, you're probably mostly going to be taking advantage of the fact that you're going from 4 to 6 and you don't really care what your opponent's doing. Like, if you're
Yeah.
going from 4 and you're flipping your Lando and you got 9 resources to effectively play with at that point, like that is going to be kind of wild.
Yeah, I think that people are going to be playing Max Rebo until they start to get punished for it.
Yeah,
And I think that I think that the higher tier players will realize pretty quickly that Max Rebo isn't fast enough. I think that Lando and Krennic are the only 2 decks I think that can effectively use this card. And like I said, they don't have that premium removal. They don't have single reactor ignition. They don't, um, I think that if you play too low to the, or if your opponent plays low to the ground and goes fast, that you're right, like aggressive negotiations
yeah.
just rolls you.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. It's like if I'm playing a Sebulba or something like that, right? And I'm doing raid 1 every turn and I see you play this guy for 2/7, like you're not really doing anything against me on the board at that point. We're
Hmm.
still able to just jam face, and now I've got 4 extra cards that just kind of melt your face with at that point when you flip, and presumably have a stronger board than you at that point. So I it's interesting. It's really interesting, but I think the cons definitely need to be uh, understood.
Hmm.
All right. All right, let's talk about the new Mandalorian. This was spoiled later on in the week. Another legendary card. He's solid. I mean, it's not like a board affecting ability when you play him, but you know, he pays for himself basically, and then he's auto giving himself the shield at that point, which
Hmm.
6/5 shielded, pay for yourself in a game that kind of is, we all assume is going to slow down a little bit. I think it's it's not like anything crazy, but it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any cards that currently come to mind that give you advantage for having just a crap ton of shields
Yeah,
on a single unit.
that was my first thought
Besides,
too.
obviously, that advantage of just having a crap ton,
Right.
it makes it harder for him to be removed. But I mean, thinking about like the standard removal cards now, I mean, 5 health is in range of the out of the airlock card, giving him -5 health will remove him off the board no matter how many shields he has.
Right.
He's fun. He gives you that card advantage
Yeah.
late in the game, which against certain decks you're probably going to want. But
Yeah.
I see him mostly as a sideboard card at the moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's something to constantly drawing. I love drawing cards, but like if he can
Hmm.
consistently have shields on and he's just kind of gobbling things up for the rest of your board, that could be interesting. I mean, you know, I don't know. Like typically, I want my stuff to have a board affecting ability when it's played, but again, I do like drawing cards. So and it, again, aggressive negotiations, colors, things like that. So you're not going to be able to, there's going to be narrow ways to remove them, and I think you touched on it too. Like there's really no benefit to having extra shields on units right now, so maybe there will be a
Hmm.
card. I say that, like we have the token removal stuff on some of these leaders coming out, so I don't know, maybe that's just like your token removal engine is your Mandalorian,
Hmm.
to where it's not as much of you blowing up your board at that point. But solid, solid-ish card, nothing crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another guy that kind of goes with him. Maybe you'll give me the lore behind this guy. Bellerit Valance. 3/6 on attack, draw a card, deal damage to a ground unit equal to the number of cards you've drawn this phase. So Yoda Eternal, my Yoda Red. Let's go. Let's get it moving again. Um, but he obviously kind of synergizes with the Mandalorian in a way. I'm not so sure that I don't remember this guy in Mando. So
No, no, trust me. I'll get to the lore after we're talking about
I
mechanics.
do see the sub content. I don't know that under his name there is Target Vader, so it's something to do with Darth
Yeah.
Vader there. But he's interesting, right? Like again, on attack, draw a card. Like that's nice. So you're pinging every turn. But
Hmm.
I mean, maybe there's ways to get this to go off for more than one pretty frequently, and then at that point, I think you should
Yeah.
really solid at that point.
Yeah. My biggest issue with this guy are his stats. 3 cut. I mean, 3 cut on attack draw card is fantastic. I mean, that's premium and ping. I mean that rocks.
Yeah.
against certain decks, but 3 damage on 5 and not having a, like you said, like an immediate effect on the board,
Yeah. It's a little
is where
slow.
we're going to see this guy struggle. Like leaders are coming out on 5, and none of them have 3 health, and it that 3 health or that 3 damage just sort of gives your opponent the opportunity to run them over when your 5 costs
Yeah.
unit doesn't stop them. I'm speaking as a mid-range player, obviously, because that's like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how I can play the game and stop my opponent from doing that. And Baylor at Valence lets me draw cards, which I love.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I don't think that it stops anybody.
yeah. I mean, I think the thing that I constantly have to remind myself in the back of my head when I'm analyzing and thinking about these cards, and again, back to the thumbnail of literally printing money. Like, if there's ways to
Hmm.
make this guy routinely a 4 cost, unit at that point, right? Like,
Hmm.
we would be much more excited to play him on 4R than we would 5R if that's
Yep,
going to be a
very
consistent
true.
thing. So, like, I think that's another thing that we have to constantly consider when we're looking at some of these cards is everything that we thought, things being too slow and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of seemingly easy ways going forward with these credits to speed things up. So,
That's a
um,
great point.
I would love to play them on 4R. So,
Yeah.
all
So
right.
Target Vader
Yeah, give me the
is
lore. Come on.
Target Vader is the name of the comic that he's from. He's
Okay.
actually the same comic as Urk,
Okay.
the the
Well,
Tuscan
there it
rebel
is.
bounty hunter, and they're bounty hunters that are hunting Darth Vader.
All
So
right.
it's pretty. He reminds me of Cable. He's got like the laser blast coming out of his hand. I mean, the art is sick.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. All right. Well, there you go. Well, I didn't read the comic, but judging from all of the other stuff that I've seen, it seems that they are not successful in hunting down Darth Vader. And
Yeah, he's surprise, surprise.
all right, next one here, the interrogation droid, 2 cost 3/1 when played, exhaust a unit, and if you do and it costs 3 or less, discard a card from their hand. I mean, I've stated like a 2 cost, like not really doing much for me with its ability when you play it for 2 is not something that's been too intriguing to me, but something like this, I mean,
Mhm.
if we're going low to the ground with 1 drops and stuff like that, and we can play a 1 drop in this on turn 2, like that's really really good. And if we're kind of leaning into a discard strategy, I mean, solid, interesting utility card to me.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it exhausts any enemy unit.
Yeah,
It's ground, it's space, it's 10 cost, it's 1 cost.
right.
I mean, that discard is icing on the cake, but a 2 cost exhaust card that puts a body on the ground at the same time
Yeah,
is fantastic. I mean, I love this card. It's another fantastic uncommon that they put in the game.
yeah. I mean, again, I don't know that this is something that like you have to be cognizant in like deck building, right? Where you're not really necessarily like. So for me, I'm always trying to stay in that 11 to 12 range of a turn one plays with 50 card deck. But like,
Mhm.
I would probably over index at that point to include this guy. So like, I would go up to like
Yeah.
14 or 15, something like that, with the thought that I'm not actively trying to play this guy on turn one. And so
Yeah.
like that does kind of constrain deck building a little bit. But in a post rotation world where we're only looking at 4 sets, it makes it a lot easier at that point because the card pool is shrinking a lot, and it makes it
Definitely.
easier to include things like this that you're not going to be as upset to see later on in the game past that first turn.
Yeah, what I like most, I think, are the other hand the
Getting new,
trait lines that
getting
you
used to the
have.
new template. Yeah,
Yeah, is the trait line that you see over there. Imperial and Droid are both
yeah,
traits that we love to see on cards.
yeah,
Droid can obviously be pulled from Invisible Hand with Pia,
yeah.
regardless
The
of
aspects.
what
Yeah,
colors you're playing him in. And I mean, with that exhaustibility is awesome. And I'm sure we'll have cards that let you draw Imperials or give Imperials bonuses like we've seen in the past.
right.
Um, that just makes this card more valuable in the future.
Yeah,
It's going to be a staple.
yeah. No, it's a super interesting one, and again, in a world where we're kind of losing some of these removal pieces, exhausting an enemy unit for 2 cost, like that's that's the floor, right? So like it's a
Hmm.
solid card, solid card, and aggro mirrors, things like that, like they can be really strong, and especially if you lean into the discard route. Um, it yeah, it's a solid card. All right, I freaking love this card, and like
Yeah.
it's I always love the burning stuff, and something like this is kind of crazy to me. Like throwing this on anything on your opponent's side of the board that's not a leader, and if they don't have a way to remove it, it's just 2 damage to their base every turn, and that's just nuts to me. Like if you start to get a burning build going, this card is just awesome, and I love. Again, this is something that we've not really seen before. Um,
Hmm.
we're losing our ruthless raiders and things like that, and obviously upgrade removal is still going to be a thing. But if your opponent is not playing those colors, like this locks down something permanently, and at that point they can't do anything about it, and the only thing they can do is watch it do 2 damage to themselves. So like this card
Yep.
rocks to me. I love seeing something like this in these colors. Like I love it.
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due for what I'm about to say. You came up with the ideas playing Galen again, and then slapping this on Galen,
Yeah,
and not only do you get Raid 1 and Saboteur, but now you're taking 2 to the face
yeah,
every single time
yeah,
on a unit that you can't swing with. Like
yeah,
it's definitely worthy of that 4 costs
yeah.
limit. I think if this card was any less, it would be way too good, and if it was any more, it might be slightly
Credits,
less playable.
credits, play it for
Credits,
3.
yeah,
I
credits.
mean,
You play for 3,
again,
man. I'll put it. Yeah, what
crazy.
are you gonna do?
Like
Oh,
and yeah, I mean, we got a
yeah,
lot of stuff to reconsider when looking at like
yeah,
again, you plan this in certain scenarios for less than 4, like that can just be crazy. So
yeah. Any deck that plans on going tall is gonna have to fear the colors red, yellow, black for sure.
yeah, there's a lot of interesting tools coming that way, and oh darn, because those are my favorite colors, and I like just kind of
Yeah,
outwitting, if you will, in a way, like with stuff like this. And
Cunning ate pretty good this week. I mean, Cunning got all the
yeah, it was a
goodies.
cunning week for sure. Besides the leaders, but you know,
Yeah, true.
uh, well, who knows? Maybe we'll be wrong, but not a
I would
fan
love
of
to
them
be
right now.
wrong.
Yeah, so like a Boba JTL deck. I mean, this is kind of I like this with New Vader. I mean, I like
Hmm.
it with a lot of different things. Like
Yeah.
that added reach on this card is really cool. So
Hmm.
I think that the only other 4 cost upgrade that we've seen to ever see play is the Dark Saber, and that was in more of an aggro shell. But like I guess we have craving power and things like that, but like we're not really seeing upgrades like this high costed get thrown on
Mm-mm.
things a lot. And
Agreed.
if this goes off twice, which it's probably most of the time often going to do, like that's real real base damage you're starting to take on top of whatever else your
Yep.
opponent's doing. So, and then again, if you're playing it cheaper with credits, who knows what's going to happen. So, again, love the flavor. I think it's really cool, and I'm glad we're starting to see stuff like this. Again, the regroup phase stuff. So, don't play Max Rebo against this.
Yeah, take 4 of the base and max
Immediate
remote
4,
count
yeah.
ready.
Oh
Gotcha.
man. All right. So towards the latter half of the week, we started seeing some pod racers and some speeders and things like that. So we got Anakin Skywalker here again. What's another set of Star Wars Unlimited without Anakin Skywalker? Um, Interesting ability. I mean, we got the 2/4 line, which has come to be like the premium line, I would say, in this game
Hmm.
for turn one plays. Um, it's a little restrictive in terms of its like getting it to go off, and we're taken away from our board there. But in a pinch, it could be solid.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this is it's played with ambush units in mind, right? And to me, this secularly locks ambush or yellow as the ambush color,
Yeah,
and in the developers' minds.
right.
Previously, I mean, you see a lot of the premium ambush units in green. I think right now, I mean, you had Darth Vader, Fifth Brother, the Eager Escort Fighter, all of that. So until we see a like maybe green yellow leader, which we know there are 2 multicolor leaders coming this set. Um, I think that's. I mean, I'm struggling to think about what ambush units that in yellow that you're trying to play. Maybe Depa Balaba, but maybe that's a little late at this point, and you don't really want to turn that to hand.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like I don't want to be taken away from my board later on in the game like that just to heal 2 damage.
Hmm.
I mean, again, in a pinch, it can be, and we're that force
Yeah.
rate cannot be overlooked either. Like we see that in a lot of these Healy decks, the
Yeah.
Hantus, kind of the Yoda stuff. Like this is obviously it's cunning in blue, and that's maybe where these force decks can go in the future. But 2/4 force unit with a different ability and being able to, I don't know, maybe it routinely is healing you two from your base if you're creating spy tokens because we're in cunning here. So like it could be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's the last of our multicolored stuff. So we're going to dive into our vigilance stuff here, and we got the Tantive 4, sick artwork.
Hmm.
It's a solidish card. I don't know if
It's
I don't know if I'd go solid. It's okay. It's fine.
it's a good limited card,
Yeah,
I'd say. I
yeah,
mean, it's good. It's fun. I mean, it works with Jin in the limited, but
right.
7 cost to heal 4 when I have itinerant warrior that heals 3 and gives me a 4/4 shielded.
Yeah,
The restore 2 is nice, and it's in space.
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think that it's going to see a lot of premier play.
It's slow, and maybe you can get it eternally with credits, like we've talked about. But the
Yeah.
win played is if we take off the whole friendly unit was defeated this phase, maybe it sees more play. But like that's kind of a strict condition to meet
Hmm.
on 7R when we're starting to probably look towards some decks closing out the game or like we're getting those big swingy tempo plays and you don't want to just be waiting around for something to die just to play this, right? So
Yeah.
I mean
Exactly.
solid stats, solid traits, like sick art, but that's what I got. I'm not probably looking to splash this in any of uh blue, green, whatever shells we're cooking up this set in the seven cost space.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sort of does the opposite of what you want to do is remove your units or remove their
Yeah,
units with your
yeah.
units. And in this case, you're waiting for something to die, like you said. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's got a lot of gen synergy, right? Like, you don't want to be crashing probably something on your side of the board unless it's super favorable for you just to get this ability to go off. But I mean, I guess if a Sentinel gets hit, then it's egg on their face when you heal 4 at that point. But I don't know. I don't see it. It's fine. It's just fine. All right. So I have been clamoring for this like on a day-to-day basis when we look at spoilers. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but as easy as it seems to be to create credit tokens, we definitely need a way for them to. I guess that could be potentially controversial because it's like, well, let's just play the game. But like, if it's going to be that
Hmm.
easy to create credit tokens, then I think it's going to squeeze some stuff out of the game a lot, especially if people are just going to play Lando nonstop. But like, this is an ability that we need to see on things, in my opinion. Bad stats. I like that it's mono vigilance, so you can kind of put it in any deck, really. But I mean, and then like dropping this on Lando's flip turn in this example, like probably is fine. But like again, 3 cost on 6 is not what you want to be doing.
Yeah. You put down a 3 cost that dies to Lando's swing. Lando coming out as a 6 cost 4/7.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, unless you have Sentinels down or something.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw all of the control players on Reddit saying it's like this is a sideboard card. This is for sure going in all my sideboards now.
yeah.
And I agree with that for sure. I mean,
Sideboard
if
makes
if
sense
credit
for
tokens
sure.
really take off, but I mean, six resources is such an important turn to put a weak like
Yeah, and
3 cost unit out.
what I don't know if there's going to be much context for you to be playing this on curve either. Like the stats are so
Hmm.
bad, and it's like, what are people really wanting to do that early in the game with their credits at that point, right? Like you play this, it doesn't really do anything for you on curve, and then it just gets removed. So it's like I don't know. Like I think this ability is necessary with where this game is going,
Hmm.
but I just don't know that this is going to be like any sort of way to
Yeah.
disrupt what people are doing with credits.
Yeah, I think that the action economy doesn't work out in your favor, then you have to bait out your opponent. You either have to bait out your opponent's resources so they only have credit tokens available to stunt them completely, or you have to do this first and give your opponent all the time in the world to take care of this unit before they use their credit tokens.
Uh,
And maybe it goes from you like playing a 10 cost unit down to a 5 cost unit, but then they still have those credit tokens available for next turn.
uh,
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's necessary for the game. Maybe we'll get like an event that says like you can't use credit tokens this turn. I think that would be far more effective.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this solves the problem universally.
Yeah. I mean, I could see this kind of working in a discard strategy in your deck. Like I'm starting to kind of regret my whole like buy all the big stock you can possibly buy, because like losing a card and then not being able to utilize those credits with this guy,
Mm,
like that could be tough, because now you're down cards, you're not able to do what you want to do with what you were, discarding the card. So, maybe in some sort of discard strategy where people are kind of all inning a little bit in terms of those credit tokens, that could be interesting. But yeah,
hmm
bad stats. You're not really wanting to play this on curve, and you're probably not going to be wanting to play it too late in the game either. So, um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I like I like the sideboard thought, but I don't see this being like a mainstay in anything. All right, let's get to some aggression stuff here, and I think we got some aggression slappers this
Yeah.
week, and I know at least a little bit about these guys. I'm not like the lore guy here, but like this card is awesome. Great traits, 2/4, like we said. On attack, you're discarding a card from your deck, and you should be able to probably tailor your deck in a way where you're getting this ping to go off pretty frequently. So
hmm
this is like deal three. This is more or less a 3/4 on turn one if your opponent isn't just hard aggroing in space or something like that. So like this is a really really great card. This is going to be a staple in a lot of uh villainy aggression decks.
hmm Yeah, I mean, you mentioned JTL Boba with the Stygian card
Burn
earlier,
burn
that the
burn burn
upgrade.
burn.
Burn, 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 burn. It's another solid turn one play that does basically that activates the indirect damage from Boba. It's perfectly suitably statted, has a great on attack, and then with the obviously with the next card as well. Like
Yeah.
its drawback of discarding from your deck is no longer a drawback. If that's something that's happening with one of your units, likely that's something you want to happen anyways. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
Another slapper of an uncommon.
I'm just thinking about this guy in the new Vader too, right? And like you're playing stuff like it, that's a rock, and I mean we're just pinging out the freaking wazoo with that and this guy and
hmm
Vader's leader ability at that point. So like, and new Vader, I mean this guy's swinging for four effectively. Obviously, it's a little more action intensive, but like that that's significant to me. Like, and then if we're discarding that's a rock card, then like we're really starting to deal some damage with a just a 2 cost unit, right? A solid
yeah.
turn one play, which we love to see the kind of upside on these 2 costed turn one plays too. So like this is just a great
Yeah.
card staple, I think, moving forward in these color combinations. And
hmm
then you mentioned it, but we got 000 000. I don't, again, not the lore guy here, but that's how I'm reading it. And again, solid stats for a turn two play. On attack, put that red card you just discarded from BT back on the bottom of your deck, and now we're burning more to base. This is going straight to base too, which is, I mean, these are just two great cards. Like these cards are going to be in every
hmm
aggression deck. I want to put them in a Sebulba deck right now and just start melting face. And like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's fantastic, and it's each enemy base for you Twin Sons fans out there. I
Shout out
mean,
Twin Sons.
three like shout out to Twin Sons. 3 cost 4/4 is a premium stat line that we've previously only ever seen on non-abilitied units. So we have our Masasi troopers that have three
Yep.
cost 4/4 green heroism, and then we have the Knights of Ren,
Yep.
three cost 4/4 command villainy. And now we get aggression villainy, and it's got a banger of an ability that works well with any discard leader, which they
Yeah.
are obviously leaning into. Yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get the ability to go off probably immediately in most cases. I mean, obviously your opponent can read the text here and not put an aggression card in your discard pile, but obviously it pairs well really with BT. But later on in the game, I mean, this is a 5/4
hmm
going to base a lot of the times potentially. So
Yep,
it's good. It's good stuff for 3 costs. So uh maybe not as much of a staple as BT, but definitely will be seeing play, I think.
agreed.
All right, so now we got Sebulba's Pod Racer, and No, we're not doing JTL stuff, but we do see some pod racer stuff coming into play here. Um, and again, it just synergizes really, really well with new Vader, new Sebulba, and we love things that can come in ready like this. And obviously the stat line is pretty subpar and can probably be removed pretty frequently, but if you let this thing sit around, it's going to melt your face. Like you can get in a
Hmm.
lot of damage that second turn you play it, or on 4R, if you will, like with Sebulba. I mean, we're looking at, I don't know. I mean, we're looking at a lot of damage, right? Because you give it raid both times, you're readying it. So, like, it can really do a lot of damage at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I like that. I like this discard. I like the way that they've built the discard synergy in this game, especially with like the Blastomech, the discard, like being able to turn on Sybil's Pod Racer,
Yeah.
and then being able to give him raid one first and maybe not ready in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I it's a good rare. The weakest part, like you mentioned, is the 3 cost through 3 stat line. It's a stat line that is beat out by 2 cost units at this point.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, late in the game, especially for aggro decks, maybe you don't play this on turn 2. You can play it a little later.
Yeah.
Have
Sneak
your
some
opponent
damage.
bait out their actions, and
Yeah.
I think maybe you're afraid of, like, every time that I see a 3 cost unit on the ground, my first thought is immediately the Obi-Wan, from Legends of the Force, is that 3 cost 3/5 temporary sentinel,
Yeah.
which can throw a wrench in so many plans. I mean, that's something that you need to think about now. So Bulba's Pod Racer not trading up into that, is what's tricky. But maybe like you said, you have that, like, that's a rock, deal that extra damage, take out their 3 cost unit, because they gave it Sentinel, and just swing for the fences.
Yeah. No, we mentioned it, but like having all of these discard things kind of play with both of these discard leaders is really cool to me. And like I think you actually mentioned it, but playing Boshek on this guy, it's a turn
Hmm.
action, kind of cheating on that right at that point, and all of a sudden he's readying without you having to even use the Bubble's ability. So I mean,
Yep.
at that point we got a 4/5 on the ground, and that's we're drawing cards, and the thing readies up again. So like that seems really solid to me. I really do like being able to think about pilots on the ground more with these pod
Hmm.
racers. That's fun little wrinkle. I think that we could see some crazy stuff happen. Um, and I mean, you got to think about some some really interesting stuff with this guy. Like you can't let it sit around, and I think most people probably won't because it is easy to remove. But it's
Hmm.
definitely an interesting card for sure. All right, we got attack from all sides here, and great art. Love the artwork. Uh,
Yep.
there's a lot going on here. Um, you know, I don't know that we're ever playing this to do 3 damage. Um, but if we can get that 5, that's pretty solid at that point, right? Like 3 cost deal
Yeah.
5 is really solid, and if those common bases become popular, like that can be really, really solid because we're losing those staple pieces that we mentioned, and removing stuff can be really solid with this.
Yeah. I'm thinking about, like, and that's why I thought that this was a fun include for this week, is the different aspects. We only have a couple of leaders that make it easy to get that many aspects out on the board at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, this has the same effect on the board as Let's Call It War if you don't have the initiative. So Let's Call It War does the 3 cost, deal
Yeah.
3 damage. If you have the initiative, deal 2 more. And this is just another similar, like, a similar play style, that it's like, if you have this, then you get Y. If you don't, you're still doing 3 damage for 3, which is, now I think the base. I think that these outright damage cards are going to get a lot, because they're so much more powerful.
Yeah.
You're going to see less damage on them, um,
Yeah, we'll
or
see.
they're going to be costed higher.
We'll see. If the game slows down and units are sticking around, this could be pretty solid, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I guess my other thing with it too is it kind of takes a second to get, those that condition met, and at that point you're playing under curve. So it's like I don't know, it's not an on curve open fire by any means. It's not nearly as good as
Mm-mm.
that. So it's like typically we don't like to be playing under curve too often, but again, we got to start rethinking about how this game operates in terms of breakpoints and thresholds and this damage and that damage. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right, no green this week, so we're going right into yellow, and we're back to the whole literally printing money thing with Lady Proxima here. It's kind of the same exact Max Rebo thing, really worse Max Rebo ban, but we can.
Hmm.
The obvious difference here is it's just mono yellow, so it can be played a lot easier in a lot of different decks, and the whole action create a credit token on 3 costs, like this is ramp stuff to me. This screams Krennic to me. Like you know, we're going tall with this.
Yeah. We've all seen at this point, anyone invested in the game has seen the combo with, playing a Lady Proxima or Max Rubo band on 3 and then being able to get the Krennic unit out on like 9 or on turn
Yeah,
4,
yeah,
something like that. I mean, it's just these are the kinds of cards that I like. The 3 costs that don't have an immediate effect, but if you let them stay,
yeah,
then your opponent is going to rack up
yeah,
those. I think the only difference between this one and the Max Rebo Band, obviously I prefer the Rebo Band because it just happens automatically.
yeah,
This lets you actually no, yeah, I was going to say that this lets you tempo a little bit, lets you can dirtle by tapping her, but at least you could also attack with Max Rebo and do the
yeah,
same thing. So
yeah. You can dirtle.
objectively a worse
Yeah,
bonus bit. So.
yeah. I think it's definitely worse, but like sometimes dirtling can be really good. And like I said, if we're going tall, it's got that mono pip. So like again, we're literally printing money. So
Hmm.
we'll see. These credit tokens, they seem strong, and I don't know if our little 2/4 guy on the ship there with no name is gonna get it done for us. All right. I as a Jabba CAD guy, I freaking love this card here. I love stuff like
Hmm.
this. This makes deck building super fun to me. We got the Master Code Breaker looking fly as hell. He's got the ladies all around
Hmm.
him here. We got the first Gambit card you play each cost 1 less, and you're searching your top 8. So this is Jabba from the first set, but on turn 1.
Yeah.
So naturally, we got to start looking at all the gambits that are going to still be in the game post rotation. So we picked out a few here and kind of doing a 2-for-1 with improvise up there. But there's some interesting stuff. I mean, you play this in Kazuda, and we're grabbing Trench Run. You're playing this in a Faith in Your Friends deck, and all of a sudden we're pumping out spies quickly. I mean, we can double Faith in Your
Hmm.
Friends on turn 2 potentially, which is preposterous. I mean, that's 5 units on turn 2. That's a lot that we're doing there. We're mega card advantage at that point because we're
Hmm.
grabbing everything.
Yep.
It this is just, I don't know if it's going to be like a staple at right now, but as was Jabba, the more you saturate the card pool, the better this guy gets. And I mean, it's it's cool. I love these things.
Yeah. Yeah, you touched on what I had to say. The Master Codebreaker into Faith in Your Friends gives you a 2 card advantage going into turn 3,
Yeah,
which is massive. And you have a minimum of 3 units on the ground, or you have at least put a minimum of 3 units on the ground that
yeah,
they have to answer and spend resources, like invest resources into removing.
yeah,
I like it with the improvised card that got spoiled with it. It's sort of like what was that Yoda card? You're my only hope.
yep,
Um, this combo lets you just play the 1 for 1 less if you have the Master Codebreaker out, which is fun. In aggro shells, you have the 1 way out to get that +1 and overwhelm just for free. And like you mentioned, Kazuda, I like to include 1 in a million in this one because now if you have Master Codebreaker out on your flip, 1 in a million costs 0. That's more that you can.
yeah,
Although I guess you're still paying the 1 resource because the card you plot in will come in tapped. Um, so maybe actually that doesn't actually work.
we're learning. We're learning.
It's worse. It's worse than I thought that it was.
I know. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
but that's it illustrates the point, right? Like, there's a bunch of
Yeah.
different ways this guy could potentially go, and I think it's really, really interesting to see stuff like this. And um, I don't know that I'm the highest on that improvised card that just came out. Like, it's not. I mean, you're going down card advantage in a way. Like, it's not. like you don't ever really want to be discarding off the top of your deck. I don't think so. It's like there's no real way. I mean, there's few ways now where you're not knowing exactly what's on top of your deck. So like if you can't set it up to work out for you, then you're never gonna want to play this, or else it's just gonna be
Yeah.
so. I think the faith in your friend stuff is just bonkers. I mean, we're tutoring half our
Mhm.
deck at that point. We're going 8 cards into 3 cards into 3 cards. So like we're really getting what we want,
So
and we
true.
got 5 freaking units on board on turn 2. Like that's crazy. I mean, that's really really good. So we'll see. We'll see where this guy goes. I think he can really really shine moving forward as more sets get released here. All right, we got our last rare base. I think this is the last one, right? Was there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The um
Yeah.
the monster one, the special base counts as the green rare
Gotcha.
base
Gotcha.
for the
Gotcha.
set. So
All right, so we got the Citadel Research Center. We got the Bail Organa ability on a stick here without the defeat. Um, I could see it maybe in an aggro shell. You put down a surprise or a card like Surprise Strike, RIP Surprise Strike, but and
aggressive
all yeah,
negotiations.
and all of a sudden you need it now to win the game, right? So like that could work out. And then aggressive, actually the way you say aggressive negotiations there, like I guess you're not going up card draw as we're talking about it now. We know what we're talking about. I promise we played this game. Um,
Yeah, you're
but
going up a card because you're paying a resource and then you're just bringing a card into your hand.
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
your resource the
yeah,
top card of
yeah,
your
yeah. I
deck.
know what I'm saying. All
Yeah,
right,
you know what you're doing.
yeah. So like aggressive negotiations could actually go really hard here if you get that back into your hand at that point in an aggro shell. It does cost 1, so you're playing under curve at that point, but it allows you to resource, more liberally, which is kind of nice.
Hmm.
And especially in a post smuggle world. Um, that's really interesting. Obviously, we can, we'll put our plot cards down, and if it doesn't come to fruition, we get the plot card back if we need it. So, like, I don't know, it could work. I don't see it being some crazy meta base, but it could work maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I love sacrificing for health for an ability that you hope you don't have to use. It's a safety net for sure, which
Yep.
helps with aggro decks. And I mean, we saw obviously how well aggro did with the 25 health bases.
Yeah.
But I think that the advantage that those 25 health bases was far superior to the advantage that this one gives you.
Yeah.
Um, right now, there's nothing that benefits from getting a card from your resources.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
No.
it's interesting. I will say that this is the third time we've seen the data vault on Scarif represented in a base. We've had Security Complex, Data Vault, and now Citadel Research Center, all the same thing,
You know,
all shown up on
there's only so many
on rare
places in
bases.
Star Wars that we can put bases. There's only
Yeah,
so many
yeah. And
play.
there's, there's
We can only go so many places here. So, all right. We're getting towards the end here. We got the Scavenging Sandcrawler, and this guy is. We came up with some interesting stuff here. We're gonna slap Rio Durant on this bad boy, and we're just gonna
yep.
go to town. We're gonna have a 512 transport. We're just gonna go to town. Again, we're printing money. Anti mill tech here. You may put a card on your discard pile at the bottom of your deck if you create a credit token. This thing's never dying. I don't know. Again, this
Mhm.
feels like a go tall thing to me, because 1/7 on 4 is far from anything an aggro deck is going to want to do. So you're going to want to go tall with this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool. It's nifty as we're trying to
Yeah.
get more light here as the sun's going down.
Yeah.
We're trying
Turn
to.
the brightness
We're
up.
new. We're new to this. All right, we're new to this. We're figuring it out. I got my LED strips on now, so we're good to go for the rest of the night. But back to the Sandcrawler here. Yeah, we're going tall. We're not trying to win the game anytime soon if we're playing this guy.
Yeah, I hate that my brain went to it, but the one thing that I thought about is like this is just another way for those super long drawn out decks to bring cards from the discard into their hand. Um,
Yeah,
if they manage to get an attack
yeah,
off. Um, and then they get the credit token on top of that. And I think that this is just more evidence to me that the way that the creators want the game to be is those super tall, heavy removal decks are going to be green yellow, where you're pushing units off of the board so that you can get yours there and swing faster than your opponent can. Um,
yeah.
It's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I didn't really think about the whole like restock kind of ability here with this guy.
Hmm.
Because you're never really gonna want to spend the action to maybe get rid of this thing. I don't think, but we'll see. I mean, we're printing money. We're still just printing money. All right, we got transmission jamming here. We got regional governor for one. No body.
Yeah.
But that could be interesting if you take your opponent off of a play that they want to make. So
Yeah.
not too much there.
Any card
Else there.
that yeah, any leader that goes down in hand, like in hand advantage is hating this card, is hating to see this. Han 1 is obviously no longer in the
Yeah.
meta, but or no longer going to be allowed to be played in post rotation. But imagine being able to name whatever 7 drop and then they're just bricked out of their turn. Or in aggro shells, play this against the cards you don't want to see. Play it
Yeah.
against your single reactor ignitions. Play it
Yeah.
against your lawbringers, and then just
Yeah.
keep hitting base.
Yeah, no. I mean, you make a good point, right? Like this is something that you're gonna play when you know the one or two things that are gonna really disrupt you, and you're fine if it misses because and they don't have it, right? Like
Yep.
somebody who has avidly played Cad Bane in the past, I never want to see rivals fall, and I never want to see like a power or anything like that. So that's why Garandan is so great with plot and Cad because you turn off the power and you turn off the rivals fall by playing the Garandan, right? So it's kind of that. It's a little bit more action heavy, but it
Hmm.
it can it could potentially win you a game and like that discard stuff. It's again, it's not going to be a staple, but it's interesting. All right, we got ourselves a regular little pod racer here.
Print money.
Yeah, again, we're printing money, and my brain first went to Rostico, the new Rostico. I think this is a great way to enable that card because
Hmm.
you play this and we're immediately on that Roast Tico timer at that point because we have the credit token to play our turn early. So that
Yeah.
seems like a really, we're in that same color. Um, but at the end of the day, 2 3 on 3 is pretty rough. But again, we're printing money.
It doesn't die to most of your 2 cost 2/4 units,
Yeah.
which is nice, but it feels very Spark of Rebellion, where like 2 cost 3/3 was those premium stats, and it definitely falls to anything, yeah, like anything in the early game, obviously. But I think you're right. You're just playing it for that resource advantage going into the
Yeah.
next turn.
Yeah. I mean, we see 3 5s and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, man. So we'll see. All right, we got another legendary here. This was a bit controversial in our Discord when it got released. But we got Anakin's Pod Racer here. So, we got the ambush, and while it's attacking, if no other units have attacked this phase, we deal combat damage before the defending unit. So the stats are trash. Like to be clear, full stop. But in a world with 2 4s, I don't know. And the conditions are a little suspect. But if this is going off and like we're going back to the whole piloting thing potentially on the ground, this thing is just going to eat up ground. Like, and
Yeah.
I can see like throwing Han Solo pilot on this thing, and all of a sudden we're just immediately nuking a Sentinel off the board. They claim they're not attacking, and so
Yep.
they can't play to the ground at that point. I mean, this can lock down the ground really hard potentially. It obviously pairs well with the Anakin Skywalker unit that we showed them on, or the multicolored one, because you just return it and heal 2 from your base.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think it's interesting. Obviously, it's not Han Solo that we came to know and love because there is that restriction where you can't have anything else attack for the combat damage to not happen. But
Yeah.
I think it's solid enough.
Yeah, I was sort of on the other side of that fence. Not a huge fan. The
Yeah,
stat line's just too low and too many setups for it to. You're gonna have to over index on three costs,
yeah,
units in your deck or like just turn 2 plays. So what I did instead was do a little research. I wanted to figure out what would be necessary to make this card good. And looking at the cards that we have, I came up with Admiral Yularen from JTL, give a unit shielded or restore, and then
does he do raid?
playing this on. I don't think that he does raid,
All right,
but
you make
who
this a four
does is
two. That would be
is
interesting.
Admiral Tarkin, who
Okay.
gives units +1 and overwhelm.
Yep.
All of that leads into you playing this on turn 2 or turn 3 instead of turn 2,
Yeah.
which is maybe not ideal. And
Yeah.
actually not, it's definitely not ideal, but you have, maybe if you have something that you have that one extra resource to use. I'm not sure, but Admiral Yularen at least fits in the same color scheme as that Anakin unit and this pod racer. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe
I
there's
mean,
something.
maybe we get a Boba 2 kind of leader where this guy's coming in for 4 when you play it.
Mhm.
I think that would actually really push it to be very good at that point because you're immediately taking off their turn 2 play, and then this ability is kind of always, or their turn 1 play, and that ability is always
Mhm.
up at that point. So if we can ever juice the stats a little bit before playing
Mhm.
this, or get the kind of shoot first abilities or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it can finish off sentinels and leave a body. You know, I think there's a path for this card, but I can definitely see the
Yeah.
downsides of it as well. So
Yeah, I definitely like it for that. I mean, being able to take out that 3 extra damage, maybe you just count it as a 3 costs 3 damage
yeah, like an eager
spell, like in
escort
your,
fighter in a way.
exactly. And maybe you're just not counting on it surviving,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
we'll see. We'll see. All right, I think that's all we got for this week.
Mhm.
Banging week. Really looking forward to the Red Hero stuff next week. Um, we're gonna
Yes.
work on the lighting going forward. But other than that, I think we upgraded the quality here. We went a little bit 0 to 100, and if you made it this far, thanks for hanging out with us and listening to us ramble about the game that
Mhm.
we really enjoy playing. So
Yeah.
thanks you guys. And Aaron, you got any
And
final
see
thoughts
you.
or anything else?
Nope. We'll see you guys next week.
All righty, we'll see you.